Hello, and welcome to A Better Morning. I'm Heather Klein. We debate the trending topics in sports from a sports betting point of view. Let's welcome today's panel. Host of Her Story in the Making and co-host of Lightning Round, Britt Flynn. Head of content of Fantasy Alarm and award-winning host on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, Howard Bender. Lead NFL analyst of Fantasy Alarm, Andrew Coop Cooper. The lovely, the talented Mr. Fantasy Exec, Corey Parson.
Good morning,
Hello,
family.
everyone.
Good morning, everyone. How are
Good
we
morning,
doing?
everybody.
Lovely, exactly.
Lovely fantasy executive.
Good
He's
morning.
so pretty.
And we got the music back. I like that. The vibes are back, baby. Let's go.
Let's get it.
Let's go. It's a Monday. It's a new Monday, guys.
Right.
All right. Every major has an all-star game. The MLB Midsummer Classic is here. If there was an all-star game you'd wish would be eliminated, which one would it be? Britt, you're up first.
So, as much as I thought that the NFL Pro Bowl skills competition was going to be kind of dorky last year, I actually enjoyed it and it was a lot of fun. So, I think that each of the big three have their merits. So, I'm going to go a little off the wall and go with the MLS All-Star Game. There's a reason nobody ever hears about it because it just doesn't generate views. An All-Star Game is supposed to be high-paced, an offensive showcase, and you don't get that in soccer. To make matters worse, there aren't even enough All-Stars to field a complete team in the U.S. They have to do a combined All-Star game between the U.S. and Canada and bring over a team from Europe like Arsenal. So you're telling me that not only we can't field a full team to play a complete game, but all of our All-Stars in America and Canada combined have to play against one team in Europe. As much as I would love an AFC Richmond like Ted Lasso situation here in America, the actual MLS All-Star game needs to go.
I didn't even know MLS was considered a major American sport. I didn't even know they had an all-star game. You know who else doesn't have an all-star game? The National Football League. Listen, just the sport is too physical to have an end-of-season exhibition that actually means something. Because what happens outside of Sean Taylor nailing the kicker, the great Sean Taylor, nailing the kicker, it turns into two-hand touch, which basically it is now. A two-hand touch game at the end of the season. So really, maybe it's a different way where you celebrate the best players in the NFL, but having an exhibition that turns into a kids football game is something that I haven't watched since Michael Irvin won the MVP.
Get rid of them all. It's all stupid, right? There's no checking in the hockey all-star game. MLB All-Star Game, it's like a little league game where everybody's got to play an inning. Corey's right. The Pro Bowl is a joke. There's no, it's two-hand touch. There's no hitting. There's no, it doesn't represent the sport. And basketball, there's no defense. There's no boxing anybody out. I mean, look at the scores. What are they, like 178 to 182 are the final scores of these. They're not representative of the games. If you want to do some sort of like mid-season acknowledgement, you want to do a skills competition or something stupid like that, fine, go ahead. But all-star games are a waste of time, and all it does is put more money into the owners' pockets.
Yeah, I think Howard's overarching point here is right on this one. But if I had to pick one, I got to side with Corey Parson here. Because you can do a basketball game, and especially a baseball game, at half speed, and do a little showcase or do a little little razzle dazzle. But with the NFL, not only can you not go half speed, but they actually one time tried to do an actual flag football game. I'm not sure if people remember, but they did it on sand, and a rookie, Robert Edwards, ended up tearing his knee up and pretty much ruining his career. So yeah, they did like a rookie sophomore game one year. So with the NFL, just get rid of it. Just play the stupid games. I actually don't mind when they go out and do the skills competition or do the longest drive. That stuff is fun. But get rid of the game itself. It's meaningless, and people can get hurt.
They did get rid of the game last year, though. All it was the skills competition because of that very concern. It was a great platform to highlight the athletes' talents, to acknowledge them. They didn't get out there and play a terrible game. I think that's what it should be overall.
I think
So
they
the
should-
NFL
they
has
should
already
all do that.
eliminated your and Corey's concerns.
Yeah. Well, they should all do that.
That guy, Robert Edwards, he was a Patriot, right? Didn't he? He just led the league in rushing that year when he tore his knee up.
He was up until last year, Ramondre Stevenson last year. He was the last Patriot to have both 200 carries and over 35 receptions. I think he was the last Patriot running back to be a real two-way running back.
And if you remember, the reason why I'm sorry, Howard, the reason why the NBA went from the old school game to the All-Star, the rookie game, was because George Gervin tore his ACL, and he was like a 60-something-year-old man.
The Iceman.
I was just going to say that I had Robert Edwards for $7 in my auction keeper league. And that was it was a horrible thing. Listen, these games are they're pointless. They're not representative of what the actual game is, whether it's the NBA, the NHL, the NFL, or MLB. It doesn't work like that. I mean, sure, maybe you could say that, a bullpen game for the Rays is something that we'll see in the All-Star game, but it's just not. It's pointless now. Now it's some pomp and circumstance for the players. The pricing to bring your family to go see an All-Star game is absolutely insane. So I mean, listen, I just think that it's just a useless thing right now that you can find other ways to market and acknowledge your players without doing a pointless game that doesn't rep the actual sport. Oh, see, everybody agrees with me. Okay, great.
Done. Computer screen.
And I'll add one last point. If we're gonna add an All-Star game, let's add a UFC All-Star game. I want a Royal Rumble, a UFC Royal Rumble.
Geez.
Get them all in the ring.
Yeah, let's get some more fake wrestling involved here, right?
No, real Royal Rumble.
Yeah, because that's what everybody needs to see. Nobody's gonna get hurt. Nobody's gonna lose their career over that one.
With NIL deals happening in most sports in the collegiate realm, should the NCAA start paying their athletes? If so, Howard, how do you decide the salary tier for the different sports like lacrosse versus football?
Okay, well, if you're playing collegiate lacrosse, forget it. You don't need an NIL deal. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Listen, the bottom line is these NIL deals are a sham anyway. And the fact that it's all now already creeping down to high school just goes to show you how stupid it is. Isn't the whole point of going to high school and going to college education, right? You go to school to get an education. You go to class to learn. So that way, when you blow your ACL out in your rookie season, that you're not just some dumb idiot sitting there with $20 million because of a signing bonus, and you got no future ahead of you. That drives me nuts. But I think that with the way football and basketball use college as a minor league, you need to have some sort of a thing in place for paying those athletes. The other sports, forget it.
Well, I think that's the big problem here is that along the line, it did get tied to the education. And at this stage in the game, especially with the major sports, that's not the important part of this. You look across, look at every other job. There are kids these days, 18, 19, even younger at certain points that are making millions of dollars in 1 year by playing video games or singing songs. There have been singers forever that are making money as kids or as adults, and no one's forcing them to get an education as part of the deal. It's about time that they honestly just treated this as it is, a job, a very difficult job where Howard pointed out you could get seriously hurt. Like, these guys should be paid what they're worth for the entertainment they provide rather than it going into a slush fund that Nick Saban gets to be the highest paid government employee in the country. The whole thing really is a sham, and it's impossible to separate.
Yeah, it's a sham, particularly if you start paying college athletes like the NCAA or the University of Alabama sets up a payroll department. These kids are on scholarship on a free ride. Name, image, and likeness allows the athlete to do just that, sell their name, image, and likeness. And that should not be governed, even though, you have the athletic department. Most athletic departments will have an NIL division, and they'll come in there and they'll get the proper athletes, the guys, you know what I'm saying, with the big evaluations. So, yeah, everybody's not going to be brawny. Everybody's not going to be a big-time NCAA quarterback. Everybody's not going to be Angel Reese. You know what I'm saying? But NIL is the fairest way to do it, because if you make yourself into a celebrity, like many of these women college basketball players have, then you deserve the money. As far as lacrosse goes, you probably gonna need to get to tune up that Chevy and hit Pizza Hut up and deliver some pizzas on the weekend.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure that you can incentivize staying in school and getting an education with NIL deals, because the average NIL valuation in the SEC, or actually Arkansas ranked 7th with an average NIL valuation in the SEC of only $38,000 a year. That's not making you millions. That's not compensating you for what you're doing. The average athlete doesn't have any incentive to stay in school. They need to get out on the field and then go to the bigs and make some more money. NCAA revenue topped $1.14 billion in 2022, and the bulk of that, $940 million, was from its television and marketing rights. You're not getting television revenue from lacrosse, swimming, etc. You're getting the revenue from the big three. And think about Arkansas. We've got Walmart, we've got Tyson, we've got JB Hunt, all 30 minutes away from this university, and we still rank 7th. Imagine if they were to put some actual money behind it, the impact it could have on recruiting, things like that. So I don't necessarily think that that's a good deal for the sport in general.
Well, with Arkansas, you don't really have no big-time collegiate athletes in Arkansas that can draw the kind of money.
That's a lie.
Who?
Treylon Burks,
KJ Jefferson, Treylon Burks,
Frank,
Treylon Burks
Rocket
is in the
Sanders.
NFL. These
Frank
are people
Ragnow.
I've never heard of. You know who Caleb Williams is. You know who Angel Reese is. You know who the Dunn twins are. I don't know any collegiate athlete in Arkansas.
That's why Rocket Sanders is ranked 3rd among all NCAA running backs, and KJ Jefferson is ranked 10th because we don't have anybody in Arkansas.
Where are they ranked in NIL?
I haven't personally looked up their NIL deals. I'm not an accountant, Corey.
I'll tell you right now that I just heard of Rocket Sanders just now, and I'm rooting for him because that's an amazing name. His real name is Rocket?
It's Raheem, but he's Rocket.
Let's get him to the big. The fact that we're turning into a society of stupid idiots out there. Like, we're a society of morons. Yeah. I mean, it's great. And you know what? And I applaud when I see somebody, somebody famous on a talk show talking about going back and getting their GED or going back and getting their college degree, because that shows that they've actually learned something in life, that you can't walk around like a stupid idiot the entire time. These like little YouTubers or whoever is getting all famous off of their TikToks and things like that, and they're making millions of dollars. Guess what they're also doing? They're also pissing away millions of dollars.
Yes.
This is turning into a society where the rich get richer and everybody else gets screwed. And you come into a little bit of money at some point, and the next thing you know, it's pissed away. And where are you then? You're sitting there with no stupid education, no ability to play a professional sport anymore, and you got no money. So what are you doing after that? That's the biggest problem right there, is that nobody promotes education for collegiate or high school athletes. And that is a huge problem with our society in general right now. We are going to be a complete bunch of morons. You want to sit and complain about who's in charge, and you want to complain about politics right now? The people who are supposed to be moving into politics are more concerned about how many likes they've got on TikTok or Threads or whatever other stupid social media thing there is, and there's no advancement on there. So you're all a bunch of morons out there. How about that?
One of the points, like Howard, is here's the thing. You know how you control and get a 20-something to do the right thing? By keeping them broke. When you make them millionaires extremely early in their career, they make bad decisions. And this is not just me saying this. It's very popular. NFL head coach was on a podcast recently, and he has children in college, and he said it's good for the game, it's good for the athletes, but as somebody who's an educator and a teacher, you wish it wasn't there.
Yeah, the only point I wanted to make was that you can walk around being an idiot and make millions of dollars and be just fine. Floyd Mayweather proved that one already. I don't think that. I'm pretty sure that guy can't actually read.
It's a good one.
I'm so glad I'm close to the
I'm sorry, I don't know about Arkansas. Listen, Arkansas is the second-rate SEC school. I know how to get after Britt now. I just go after Arkansas.
That's funny. All right, let's talk NFL futures. The Chiefs are favored to run it back at plus 600 to win the big game. Do you agree, or do you have another team to dethrone the reigning Super Bowl champs? Coop, you're up.
Yeah, when I do these, I go through and, there's obvious teams at the top, but what I'm looking for is who is the deepest odds that's the most realistic. And this pains me to say, but I will admit that the more I start thinking about the New York Jets, the more realistic it becomes. Honestly, we've seen it twice in recent history where a team looked complete and they just need an upgrade at quarterback. They bring in a MVP caliber player, and Matt Stafford has not ever won MVP, but 2011, well, that was an MVP caliber season. The year they won the Super Bowl, that's MVP caliber. I watched Tom Brady do it with the Buccaneers. I look at this team that Robert Saleh and the gang have built over there, and they have all-stars on both sides. They did a great job converting the defense, and now they bring in a guy who was very recently a back-to-back MVP in Aaron Rodgers. It's entirely possible, Howard.
All right, first of all, the New York Jets ain't going to be nowhere near the Super Bowl. Let's get that out the way. You know what I'm saying? The AFC is still the conference that has Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. More than likely, the AFC Championship game will be played the final Sunday in January in Kansas City, Missouri. Let's start there. Now, who is going to be that opponent is going to be what's interesting. And this year, I think it's going to be the team that's had the best record in the AFC the past couple years until their quarterback got hurt, and that's the Baltimore Ravens. John Harbaugh, like Andy Reid, is a Super Bowl winning head coach. The Baltimore Ravens can go into Kansas City and win in late January. The New York Jets can't.
I think that there are so many good teams in the AFC that it's really hard to pick a Super Bowl winner out of that division. So I'm going to move to the NFC and lay a little money on the 49ers at plus 1,000. They have the best defense on paper. Had they not lost their quarterback in the NFC Championship game last season, I think they very well could have gone to the Super Bowl last year. They didn't have Eric Armstead and Nick Bosa for a majority of the season last year, and they still had the best run defense in the league. Now they brought in, for the full year, the X Factor and Christian McCaffrey, and their offensive line is one of the best in football. This could all change, of course, if the Chiefs bring in DeAndre Hopkins and add an X Factor of their own. And as much as I want to say Dallas, and as much as you all thought that I was going to, and they do have the sixth best odds at plus 1,600s, I'm not Delulu. They're going to have another great season and then blow it in the playoffs.
Nobody thought you were going to say Dallas, Britt, because we know that you are sensible enough for that. You'll stand by Arkansas till the cows come home, literally. But we know you weren't going to go with Dallas on that one there. You know what? What's wrong with plus 600 for the Chiefs? I mean, they've shown that they've got the track record. They've got the success. There is the rumor that DeAndre Hopkins is going to come in. And I'll tell you what, if DeAndre Hopkins does sign with the Chiefs, that plus 600 is easily going down to at least like a plus 450. All right, so I'll take my plus 600 now for the team that has dominated in the AFC for years and years. And while, yes, you've got your Bills and, yes, you've got your Bengals, I'm sorry, but plus 600 is not a bad set of odds for you to lay action on. So I'll take the Chiefs. I'll take the favorite.
Do you think that having Matt Nagy as the offensive coordinator there now affects them at all? Because I'm slightly concerned.
No, Andy Reid controlled him while Matt Nagy was there. Andy Reid already controlled him. Everybody knows that the offensive coordinator in Kansas City is a puppet. Yep. Matt Nagy was a puppet. Eric Bieniemy was a puppet. They weren't bringing anything new and innovative to this whole thing. It was Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes. That's what it was. So Matt Nagy coming home to Kansas City is more like, you know what? Your kid just moved back from college because he couldn't go out and get himself a regular job. So now you got to foot the bill for another couple of years with him before he goes out and leaves you for yet another gig that he's going to fail miserably at. So
there's nobody in NFL free agency right now that's going to move the number, though, Howard. So DeAndre Hopkins is not going to move the Chiefs number, but you do make a good argument. Why not just the Chiefs at plus 600? you'll know they'll at least be in the AFC Championship.
Here's why, because it's boring, dude. Howard picks the Chiefs, and his
Who
favorite
cares about boring?
his favorite basketball player is Michael Jordan, and your favorite hockey player is Wayne Gretzky. And
Oh, dude, you're messed up in the head because there's a difference. You want to talk about boring in fantasy? Okay, go ahead and take your risks. Boring in betting? I don't give a crap if it's boring. If it's grinding out and it's making me money, that's the most important thing. I don't care. I'm not betting to be outlandish. I'm not making picks. What's my name? Brad Evans? Am I going out there and just throwing 20,000 different odds out there to, wear a funny looking jacket and hold a fake sledgehammer? No, I bet to make money. And when I do it on here or when I put it in an article, I do it to help people bet. That's what it is. It's not about an image or a gimmick or anything like that.
I picked the Jets so that I could watch the chat bash them.
That's a good idea. Britt, who's going to be the 49ers opening day quarterback?
Really good question.
I mean, I think that Brock Purdy is on track to actually start. His rehab looks pretty good from what I've heard. And even if it isn't, they have one of the easiest schedules up in that first section for sure. So I don't think it matters, even if it is Sam Darnold. They're just going to run it down everybody's throats. And that's what the Shanahan offense has always done. It's a game management type system. They've got McCaffrey. They've got Kittle. They can figure out how to do it and eke some wins out. And then when Purdy comes back, he fits very well in that game manager role. And I think that with their defense, they've got a great shot.
All right, guys. Floyd Mayweather, LeBron James, Kurt Busch, Daniel Snyder, A-Rod. What do these guys have in common? They are among the list of the most hated athletes in sports. Corey, I imagine there's an athlete that is the bane of your existence.
A lot of them.
Who do
I'll
you
start
think
off
is?
by saying this. Well, I would have said James Dolan, but he's not an athlete. You know what I'm saying? So if we're going to go on athletes, let me preface this by saying, like, I know the dude has had like some political stuff in the past. I'm not concerned about that. I'm not into politics. I'm into people. And what I will say is this, though. As a person that proudly wears this interlocking NY on my hat, I cannot stand Kurt Schilling. You know what I'm saying? With the Arizona Diamondbacks, this dude said it felt great to make 50,000 New Yorkers shut up. That didn't sit right with my spirit. And then as a Boston Red Sox, he put a little bit of ketchup on his sock and made people think that his ankle was bleeding in this tremendous performance. They even put the ketchup-stained sock in Canton. Well, not in Canton, excuse me, in Cooperstown. So, yes, Kurt Schilling is a fraud, and as a native New Yorker, he is my most hated athlete ever.
So there are several who are extremely unlikable due to legal issues like O.J. Simpson and Michael Vick, but I'm not getting into all that. We all know why they're unlikable. Coop, put your earmuffs on because I straight up cannot stand Tom Brady. His legacy is just shrouded in so much shady stuff. You've got Spygate, you've got Deflategate, you've got the tuck roll, you've got Giselle yelling at his wide receivers and putting all the blame on them in the Super Bowl, the whole yacht purchase in 2020 with the PPP loans, kissing his kids on the lips. I could go on and on and on. And there's no denying what he did on the field is incredible, but there's so much about his personality and attitude that I just can't stand. Oh, you're going to whine about how difficult your life has been? Please tell me more, but honestly, don't. It's not been hard. You're one of the most decorated athletes in pro sports. Just quit whining and go sell underwear with Kim Kardashian or whoever the hell that you're dating right now.
Ooh, I got my Skims on right now, actually, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. Listen, put any Red Sox uniform onto a player, and I absolutely hate him. That's Corey. Corey hit the nail right on the head. So, I mean, I could sit here and vamp for 30 seconds and tell you all the reasons why I hate Bryce Harper. I don't really hate Bryce Harper. I don't know him personally. I just know the personality as it comes off to everybody. Kind of comes off like a douche. Not gonna sugarcoat it or say it any other way. The haircut looks douchey. The attitude looks douchey. The bandana on the head looks douchey. The clown question bro thing was douchey. It's just, you know what, Bryce Harper, do more on the field and stop being douchey.
I tell you something about. Oh, sorry.
Hey now. So that brings me to my most hated athlete, Corey Parsons. Always feeling.
not an
No,
athlete.
for me, there's one guy that just he transcends everybody else. And I see Draymond Green, people mentioning him in the chat. The original Draymond Green was Bruce Bowen. This guy absolutely was a dirty player, and it got to the point where he was actually hurting people. He ruined Steve Francis's career. He undercut Steve Francis, the franchise, when he went for a jump shot, he put his foot underneath him. From kicking Amari Stoudemire, he kicked Wally Zerbiak in the face. Like, this guy, he was a absolutely disgusting player, and now I have to watch him on TV with his stupid bow tie talking about the game that he made a mockery of when he played. Like, Bruce Bowen, I just want him to go away forever.
Who didn't want to kick Wally Zerbiak in the face? Hey, come on.
We all did, but he did it.
No mention of Dylan Brooks, which is probably today's current NBA goon. But if I would have had a runner-up, I would have went with Russell Westbrook. Let me tell you something. When you come to the game to get fans put out the game because they making fun of you or talking trash to you, people that pay their hard-earned money to come and see you play, and they say something that you don't like, and you have them put out the arena time and time again. Hey, I'm trying to get triple doubles so I get my own rebounds. Russell Westbrook, even though he's an NBA top 75 player, is an athlete that I've never been fond of.
I hated that when he was doing the triple doubles and he would like sneak in on those every free throw that was like uncontested rebound.
Yeah.
He would knife in front of his own center to collect that board. Like, that was so dumb.
Which
Britt,
is
I'm
why he's
surprised you
been
didn't
bounced
mention-
around from team to team lately, because nobody else likes him either.
Yeah.
But
Generally,
I'm surprised you didn't mention Tim Tebow.
the thing is with the players with that Britt kind of laid out, those guys, I don't mind those guys. I like Tom Brady. I like Kyle Busch. They're not hurting anybody. Brad Marchand, you could say, is really close to the line because he does slew foot people and stuff, but now he doesn't really hurt people. Bruce Bowen was literally injuring players. That is, to me, is where I'm like, I hate this guy and I want him done.
I think they're athletes, though. They can stick up for themselves. We're watching a product, and those are the athletes that we don't like watching a product. They're annoying.
Can't stick up for yourself when you got a broken ankle because Bruce Bowen, went for the went full Karate Kid on you and slide tackled you during the game.
Nobody mentioning Albert Hainsworth. Come on, wasn't he great?
Oh, yeah.
Stole all that money from Washington.
like stomping people in the chest. He's curb stomping people any chance he gets. Come on.
And Dominican Sue
Remember that play when he was just lying down?
lying on the floor after he took all that money from them people.
That was so
Right.
funny, dude.
That
Just
dude
taking a
was horrible.
quick nap.
I just want to go back and address that Corey said he was surprised that I didn't say Tim Tebow. And I don't know where this idea that I hate all SEC players came from. I said one possibly negative thing about Bryce Young and his size in the NFL, and it translated to I hate all SEC players. Like, dude, come on.
You can't
Well,
give these
it
guys
makes the
inch
show a
Brit.
little bit more spicy, to be honest with you.
You
Britt.
can't
That's
give
all
him.
I do.
You can't give him an inch, Britt. You can't. I'm taking down everything behind me so they don't know who to come after.
If I got something, Britt, I'm gonna lock in on it.
It's that Arkansas ball. They got you now.
It is. Find the weakness. Just zoom right in on it.
Uh-oh, Britt gonna
All
come
right,
after
Britt.
the-
If you
he
want to
gonna come
hate
after the
SEC
Grizzlies
players,
next.
go ahead.
That was today's edition of A Better Morning. Thank you to Howard, Britt, and Coop, and the legendary Corey Parson. Make sure you check out,
Does Corey write these?
make sure you check out Britt, Howard, and Coop on Fantasy Alarm Football at 1 p.m. Eastern. If you missed any of today's shows or in the past, you can find them all on our YouTube channel and at bettersports.com. We wish everyone a better day. Have a good one, guys.